All right, welcome back to another episode of the JT Exchange podcast, where we fill you in on all that is SU track and field. Today I'm joined by our distance coach, Coach McGuire. Coach McGuire, how you doing?
Doing well. Good to be here, man.
Good. I know you're battling a little cold.
Yeah.
It is 6:09 in the morning. We were doing this before morning practice, so a little earlier recording for us. But thanks for joining us. We are going to kind of recap the last couple of weeks, dive a little bit more into the distance group, get your insights on some things, and then see the highlights from this past weekend, and then look forward to next weekend.
Sounds good.
So over the past few weeks, we've talked about on the last couple podcasts, we've got a group of about 6 guys and 7 to 8 women who've really taken off or excelled, no pun intended, in their events. What can you share about that group and their hard work? They've set some massive PRs in the 5K, 3K mile over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes back to the summer training. They all have put the work in. They believe in the training. They believe in themselves now. Actually, what really sums it up is I was driving in here this morning. A whole group of them were already up on the treadmill at like 5:30 this morning, getting some extra mileage in, extra warm-up in. And they really, when they're having an off day, they lift each other up. The big thing is they're buying into it. They're willing to get themselves uncomfortable, and they're pushing for it.
Yeah, it's great. Let's just kind of zone in on, I guess, the women's group at first.
Okay.
I guess we'd say unofficially led by Sophia Bostwick. Obviously, she's the front runner. But there's another group of probably 7 girls, I think, that have really done a good job throughout the meets of pushing one another and just, as you said, putting in the extra work. What do you want to see from them moving forward the next few weeks as we get closer to champs?
Well, as you said, they've done a good job pushing each other. So when one's feeling a little off, another one steps up, does the work, and they latch on to each other. Really, they just got to keep on doing the same thing. We're working on bringing that average down, continue to PR each week, and ready to, peak at conferences indoors and then continue it outdoors. It's really been exciting because they are seeing the progress. I mean, Riley Schlosser, one of our, transfers in from this year. Last year, she ran a 14:05 3K indoors, and she just won 11:35.
Yeah.
So she's seeing the work pay off, and they just lift each other up after that. They're so excited for each other, and they don't want to let each other down. And I expect to see them step up at conferences too and fight for positions on the podium in each of those events.
Yeah, and on the men's side, I think it's kind of the same deal. You got Derek Blair up front, but other athletes like Tommy and Hunter, and then some of the freshmen with Brady and even Sam, he's been running really, really well. What do you want to see out of them the next couple weeks as we get, geared up for champs?
Well, Derek obviously has been doing some great things, learning to race in different ways, as you saw, which we could dive into more later, but his race this past weekend, how he finished instead of leading from the front the whole time. And he's just setting that example for others behind him. Then Tommy and Hunter right there, the improvement they have shown over the last few years, leading with their training. It's bringing the young guys like the Bradys and Sams to want to follow them. So they're all just excited to get better and improve. They're buying into the culture, they're buying into the team, and they want that success for everybody.
Yeah, and let's talk about the racing, aspect, because obviously in distance, a lot of it's just focused on your individual time, and sometimes it's place, but really it's about what your time is. Mm-hmm. So you've been working with Derek on different, we'll say, tactics in racing. Can you share that, strategy a little bit more?
Yeah, so he, during cross, wasn't necessarily planned this way at the start of the season, but he came in great shape, and he ended up running from the front or all by himself a lot. And then, you get to the big championship meets, regionals and stuff, and you get in a crowd, and it's completely different how you feel, how you race, the strategy. So our first few races for track, same thing. He was running from the front. So the plan this past week with the 3K, because as you know, championship time becomes a strategy race, especially when you have multiple races to do. So we talked this weekend about sitting back, letting someone else do the work for the first, K or mile. And the race actually went out much slower than intended. We thought somebody would be there to take it out. But he stayed control, relaxed. And then when it was time, I gave him a cue. He started picking up. A couple other guys went with him and took the lead, and he latched onto them. And he managed to throw down a finish. He finished. He threw down a 30-second last lap, a 63 last quarter, which is showing that he has the speed and the finishing ability to run with anybody at any time.
Yeah, and I know we're going to look into trying to get him into a little bit of a deeper, I guess we'll say 5K here in the next couple of weeks. But great things have been going on with that group, week in, week out so far. I'd say they've been our most consistent, part of the program as opposed to maybe Kendall and Cole. But really happy with how they've been doing. We're excited to see, how they progress towards champs. As many people know, we've got a really deep conference in the distance side of things with Moravian and E-Town and all the other schools mixed in there. So we're excited to see them mix it up a little bit. Hopefully we can get them in the right events so they can compete for titles and whatnot. But this past weekend, overall, I think the meet went pretty well. We were up at Ithaca College. It's funny, I joke that it's the warmest it's ever been when we've gone to Ithaca, and I think it was like 10 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah. So some highlights there. We had 11 women's PRs and 2 All-Atlantic region qualifiers. On the distance side, we talked about how strong they've been. 5 of the 6 or 6 of the 7 3K girls all PR'd, and the one that didn't is someone that's, gets green. She's been working really, really hard on the new treadmill. She hasn't really run actually a whole lot, and she only missed her PR by, I think it was like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So really happy with that for her to be able to step on the track after not being there for so long and do so well. Kendall Sims, I know we talked about her a lot last week. She broke her own school record again. She's a testament of how hard you can work, and we've got a lot of high expectations for her, but I think her expectations for herself are higher. She ended up jumping 347, broke her school record by another 5 centimeters. So we'll continue to push her, and then in the throws we've had Abby, Paulina, and Emma all PR'd as well, and then Aubrey Burwager, she PR'd in the 800 as well. So another great weekend for the women. The men, I think we ended up with 13 men's PRs, and we did have the Liam and Rowan able to compete in a multi again, which is great. Liam actually came out of there with 3 PRs, and I know he was a little frustrated because he, has really high expectations of himself. But anytime he can go into a multi, and get 3 PRs, it's a good weekend, to be honest with you. But your group again, 4 of the 5 guys PR'd in the 3K, which is awesome. Derek, obviously, we talked about how well he ran. Mm-hmm. I think he's 3rd all time in the 3K.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. He won that day. Nico Lulowicz, he's kind of been battling back from an injury. In the multi that we had in December, he had a pretty gruesome ankle injury where his shin touched the track.
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
Yeah, so he's been working really hard, and he actually had a lifetime best. Well, I'd say it's a lifetime best, but he says he ran faster in high school in the 400, and that includes indoor and outdoor. So to be able to continue to work and then come back and run, I think it was 53-1 or low or something like that indoor, is awesome for him.
Yeah, I got to be at the finish line during that, and who's so excited to see that. It was neat.
Yeah, it's great. He's been working really hard, and we're going to get him back into the hurdles. But then we had a couple PRs in the throws, and then Rowan also had a PR, and then Owen Trump, he was a standout mid-distance runner this weekend. I think he ran, it was like a 2:06 and some change. Yep. What can you say about Owen?
Owen's really coming into his own. He's never had an indoor season before. He was also a soccer player in high school, so didn't do much until outdoor track season. He's got some great top-end speed, great work ethic, so looking forward to seeing him. He's still learning how to race, so the race this weekend, he actually led from start to finish in his heat by a significant amount, and when he was coming through the first lap, I saw it on his face. He looked over his shoulder and was looking around like, uh-oh, no one's here. What's going on? So the more he builds confidence, the more he gets to race on the indoor surface with the tight turns. I expect to see him to continue to progress each week and mix it up come conference time.
Great. So we've got a couple meets left at home. Then we'll have the tune-up. We're not really sure what we're going to do with that yet, but 2 home meets before we prepare for champs. This Friday, we've got the Friday night showdown where we like to bring in, about 8 schools, some good competition, Division 2, Division 3, and some, at times we've had Division 1 schools. And after that, we have a larger Valentine invite on the 14th where we'll have 18 schools or so here competing. What is your message to your distance group over these last 2 opportunities?
Well, really, with the distance group who's been doing great, we don't want to change much. Consistency is key. Continue to believe in yourself. Don't change the approach to the race just because the meet might be bigger or smaller. We approach everything the same way. Kind of like a business-like mentality, right? Why change something if something's going well? So just keep on putting themselves in position to run a good race. That's the big thing I've been telling them. Set yourselves up. I'd rather see them struggle in the last lap or two, but putting themselves in position to run a great time as opposed to finishing the race and saying, oh, I'm not tired. I have some left in me, so I just want them to continue doing that. Mid-distance group, I think we need to get racing more and get a little more competitive, a little bit tougher. Really just go out there. Same message again, put yourselves in position. Don't be afraid of the pain. Don't be afraid to hurt a little bit. And we just need to get better each time out to set ourselves up for conference championships. With the distance runners, this week's going to be a little bit more of a down week, if you will, running some off events, some shorter things, and then ready at our bigger meet to really throw down another big either 3K or 5K, then to give us a week off before champs or a lighter week before champs. So
Gotcha. Yeah, yep. Basically, it's kind of the same thing across the board with the exception of some field events. We've been pushing them pretty hard the last couple weeks, so we're going to take it back, let them maybe just do 1 or 2 events this weekend, and then kind of ramp up for that last go on the 14th. And then if we need to go somewhere that last weekend before champs, we will. But if not, it's really just, the hay's in the barn, as they say, and get prepared and just, we're lucky we're hosting again, which is great. We like to compete at home, even though there is a lot of work that goes to it. I think our athletes, they're confident here, and we're looking forward to the next, 3 or 4 weeks here as we gear up. But I do want to thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to have you back here for the Meet the Coach segment soon.
Okay.
I know it's hard with your schedule to get you here, but that'll be coming up here hopefully in a few weeks. But once again, thank you for joining me. This has been the JT Exchange Podcast, and thanks, man.
Thank you.